All right, guys. So I'm working nights right now, but I'm gonna try to get a little bit of stuff done. I got my four-wheeler right here. It's an older model, I believe a 89 or 90, possibly 91. I can't honestly remember, but it's a Yamaha Bayou 300 or 350. I mean, it's good, but the biggest issue is whenever I originally got it, we used it a lot, and then it got to the point where whenever we had, I think it was Harvey came through, I ended up flooding it pretty bad. But it put in a lot of work that day, but I just ended up flooding it, trying to get through an intersection, and it didn't work out. But I've done oil change and all this stuff since then. I changed the carburetor out. I put a new carburetor in it whenever I was trying to get it all running again at our old house. Here's another new carburetor. But so moving here to our new place, we're going to use the four-wheeler way more often. So I'm going to try to get the four-wheeler back up and running. I did have it running, but the drain screw on the bottom of your carburetor here, since this one's out, I'll show you. That screw right there at the very bottom, whenever I went to take it out on the old one to try to drain the bowl before I actually pulled the carburetor out, that was by far one of the hardest screws on the carburetor I've ever had to try to take out. So I pulled the carburetor out, I put it in a vise, and I ended up having to use a pair of channel locks to bust the screw loose. Now, I don't know if something else happened, but it leaks now from the drain point on the bottom. And then the Petcock on the bottom of the fuel tank also leaks, so I'm changing out the whole carburetor because I think there's some other issues going on. I did clean it, but just in with all the pluggage and gunk and all that stuff, because I mean that gas sat in there for probably 2 years and it didn't do anything, so it was dirty. And I cleaned it, I got it running. It wasn't running the best, but it was running. And so I thought, all right, since I got it running, might as well invest in getting a new carburetor, get this one taken apart, actually cleaned, and have a backup carburetor for it. So that's what my goal is today before I have to go back into work, is replace carburetor. So the carburetor on this thing is in a horrible spot. That's the top of it. That's your, right there's a cable for your gas. Then on this side looking up, that's your fuel line coming in right there. You got your choke up there, that line, that's your vent tube. But this is the one right here, the screw's on the other side. But that's the hose that constantly was dripping gas. Like right now, see, like it's still dripping gas. But I'm siphoning everything out of the gas tank. The Petcock is off, but that thing slowly drips, that thing slowly drips, so it just adds up over time. But we're gonna try to get that fixed today. All right, so the first step, you're gonna get your air cleaning hose, the piece that goes from the outlet, or the outlet of the filter inlet to the carburetor right there. You're gonna remove the hose. If you remove the air cleaning box, you can pull the hose out. I just have my hose just kind of tucked down there, down in the bottom. And then this, the fuel, or the gas pedal lever thing, this piece right up here, this one's a pain in the butt. I don't even know if I'm gonna get an angle on it. But right here where my finger is, there's a nut. And you have to unscrew that all the way to the top, so that way you can slide this out. And then you gotta rotate this to where the, I don't even remember where the slot is. There's a slot, it's on the bottom right here. I'll show you from this angle. But see the slot right here at the bottom? You gotta get the cable where it'll slide out that slot. And then after this, the next hardest thing is the choke cable. And the reason why that one's such a pain is because the angle everything's at, it is just horrible in the aspect of where it is. I don't know if there's an easier way to do this. I've done the changing this carburetor out a handful of times. The first two times the choke cable was not broke but frozen, so I ended up getting a different choke that just mounts on the side of the carburetor and doing it that way. It wasn't the best option by a long shot, and this is a very cold-natured thing, very cold-natured. So it did not necessarily like it, but I was able to at least get it to run mostly. Did it run the best? No, it did not run the best, but it ran. And I mean, I got some videos and stuff from when I got it stuck, which more or less just high centered it on the next to a pond. But you're just in here. You can take all the plastics off and everything else to work on it. I've done that a handful of times, but I got the throttle linkage off of it now. So now the only thing I got, which is back on the other side, is, all right, so just to recap where I'm at, I got the air boot taken off. I got the throttle linkage taken off. This small boot here, I have it loosened up. So that way, once I get the choke cable here taken off, then I can literally just slide the whole thing out, no big deal. Fuel line's taken off. I already took the hose clamp off so that way I don't lose it. This little plastic piece up in here, which is very difficult to see and get an angle of. I got a 12 millimeter. I think it's more like an 11 or something, but you can't really get a good grab on it, and you're not tightening it up that much because, again, it's plastic threads. So if you tighten it up too much, you're going to strip it. So you're basically just going to get up in here and do like an 1/8 of a rotation or 1/16 of a rotation just to try to get it off. And I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do it. I might have to switch out the channel locks, because you're literally just trying to slide the wrench in there to barely get on it. It's more than finger tight, so it's difficult. I might have to just try to, because I mean, it's not tight by any means. It wiggles around pretty decently, but it's just got that spring tension on it. So I can't really get you a good angle, and I kind of need both hands. So I'm gonna set the phone back down, but I'll let y'all know what I end up trying to do with it. If I try to just unscrew it by hand or get some needle nose in there, which needle nose might be the play on this one. So let me grab some needle nose and see if I can get that to work. You'd think, oh, just grab from the top, but that shiny part right there, that's it. You got all these hoses and frame and all that stuff in the way, so you can't. So let me get some needle nose. I'll let y'all know how that works. Which is the choke cable, which this is just fuel line, simple, you know, worm drive type hose clamp, undo that. And then once you get the choke cable out, which right here, which is right here on my finger, is it's a plastic screw. So that's why it's such a pain in the butt, is you gotta get the needle piece to slide into this hole right here. Like this one has the plastic piece on it. So this is how it all is together. But all this is on the end of the, hold on a second, got a lot more smaller piece than I thought I would. Come on. All right, so that piece in there actually comes off and hooks to the end of the choke cable. And then that goes on like the end of the ball. There's a spring that's on that to this cable. Then you have this piece that slides over all that. So you have to compress the spring in order to screw this piece on. And then you're also having your hands in there. Even if you take all the plastics off, it's an extreme pain in the butt. Like, it is It is hard to do this, but it's not impossible. It's just pain in the butt. So I'm not saying take the plastics off, make it easier. It doesn't matter really what you do. It's going to be a pain in the butt because the cable, the choke cable isn't necessarily long enough to move it around to do other things, because it's a pretty rigid cable. This one's a new cable, so it moves really easily. And I oiled it before I put it in. It's just the angle that you had to be in. And even if you have all the plastics off, you got the frame right here, you got other hoses and stuff like that that's in the way to where you can't really get to it. And to put it back on, you do it by hand for a portion of it, and after that you have to put a wrench back on it. All right, so what I ended up doing, just because I wasn't able to get anything on it to actually get any kind of leverage, I just popped the whole piece out, rotated it, and this where you can see the cable in there. It's under the boot, but I was able to get my 12 millimeter on it, get it busted loose, and after that should just be simple. Unscrew it the rest of the way, unhook the cable, and then that's it. And then I should be able to start installing the new one. I'll check back in just a minute. All right, I got it unscrewed. It popped out. It's literally this little needle thing, which doesn't look to be in the best condition, so I might swap it out for the other one that came with the new carburetor. But I did clean this carburetor not that long ago, but it's just, I think there's a little bit more pluggage in there than what I'm able to get out. But that's the plastic thing with the really crappy threads on it that screws into an aluminum body. So, but that's it right there. You ain't got a whole lot of room to work with in this area, so I mean that's all you got. But let me swap out that needle, and it's literally the same as the throttle linkage. Pull the spring back, slide the cable out the hole, and then slide the new one on, put the spring back down, and that's it. Let me check back in with you after I got that done. So even though on Amazon it says I ordered the same one, these are different. So this is the old one that I just pulled, and that's the new one. The new one, a little bit smaller of a spring. This piece is bigger. This piece is bigger overall. This one, bigger spring, smaller body. I guess I forgot to grab the grommet, but smaller, bigger. I don't know what that actually means when it goes to assembly. We'll find out. I know putting this thing in, huge pain in the butt. It is absolutely horrible to put that piece in. And let's see if I can get this to focus. The threads are not in the best of shape, but I mean, again, this piece is tiny. You can see where I had to put stuff on it just to try to tighten it up, because you're having to compress the spring and screw it in at the same time. This one, with the smaller spring and bigger body, that should make it significantly easier, but we'll find out here in a minute. And these threads, again, this is new. It's got a gasket on it, a little O-ring. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll check back in a minute. All right, I got the new one installed. It doesn't fit on that 90 as well as the old one did, but the spring is pretty stiff. This is full choke right here, and then that's no choke. So I mean, it still works, and it still feels smooth. But maybe the issue with the old one was the spring or something was too big, so you weren't able, even though you were pulling this, maybe it wasn't actually applying or turning the choke off, because it was running pretty rich. So I mean, that could have been the issue. But let me go ahead and get this new one installed, and we'll see what happens, see if we can get this thing fired up. All right, this one was way easier to install. All I did was put my finger back here, pressed in on it, and I was able to spin it with just one finger to screw it right in. I didn't have to do anything crazy like I did on the old one, wherever it went. There you're right there. That one I had to use all kinds of stuff, try to get that one on. But this one, I literally just pressed on the back right here, and I was able to compress the spring enough, and I was able to use my other finger to spin it, to tighten it up. Now we just gotta get it put back on the boot, to get the fuel line hooked up to it, throw some gas in it, and see if we can get it start up. So for this type of carburetor, this little black knob down here is like the minimum throttle. So it is used to adjust your idle. So it's basically whenever you let off the throttle, this is going to stop it from going any lower. So it controls your idle speed. And right now, whenever I start it up, well, it's just dying. I already adjusted a little bit. See, like I already adjusted a little bit, and that sounds way better. I'm probably gonna have to adjust it a few times just because this thing, again, it's a cold-natured machine, but you know, only time will tell. So let me go run it around and see if it's working a lot better.